It's now time to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers. And I have joining me here in the studio, Chartered Accountant and Public Affairs Analyst, Sesan Okunade. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, Ibrahim, and thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday.
At least another time for us to go rest.
Absolutely. Well, rest you say. Well, we always work throughout the weekend.
Working from Monday to Friday, at least weekend is to rest.
At least and enjoy yourself.
And enjoy yourself, yeah.
All right, then via Zoom is a chartered mediator and conciliator, Kehinde Nwandu. It's good to see you.
It's nice seeing you. I was a week.
Well,
so good morning. How are you, my brother?
Good morning, CK.
All right, guys, let's quickly get into what the papers are reporting this morning. The Guardian newspaper is having it, screaming loudly on the front page of its newspaper. All now set for APC National Convention. Eagle Square agog for 12,000 delegates. Keep your eyes on the ball. Buhari tells APC leaders. Daily Sun is next. APC chair support swells for consensus. Like governors, National Assembly caucus backs President Buhari's candidate, and President asks lawmakers to shun squabbles, distractions. The Nation newspaper is next. Convention, why we chose consensus option by APC, party to abide by Electoral Act. President solicits unity among party stakeholders. Nigerian Tribune is next. APC convention, consensus arrangement faces threat. Governors move to pacify aspirants over Adamu, and how President Buhari adopted regional stakeholders micro-zoning. Looks like the papers are unanimous on what they should put on the front page today, because of tomorrow is a big day. First news is next. APC convention. After consensus, federal government bars office holders from voting. After consensus, federal government bars office holders from voting. Daily Times is next. Electoral Act. APC bars political appointees from voting at convention. Says they can attend, but only as observers, as President Buhari urges ruling party leaders to avoid distractions, harmonize interests. Leadership newspaper is next. APC convention, consensus deal shaky 24 hours after President Buhari's meeting with aspirants. That's according to the Leadership newspaper. The Punch newspaper says APC convention, President Buhari battles last-minute crisis, summons governors, chairmanship aspirants fail to agree. Asiwaju Tinubu, ex-governor Akonde meet the president in Villa over Omishori's choice as secretary. Ruling party bars political appointees from Saturday's national convention. Blueprints next. 24 hours to APC convention. Let's not jeopardize our chances in 2023. President Buhari pleads, tasks members on zoning template. That's the blueprints there. News Direct, State of the Nation. There is danger. We must reform Nigeria now. That's according to Asiwaju Tinubu, and says Nigeria cannot dare to predicate economic destiny on diminishing oil utility. His views are thought-provoking. That's Governor Sanwo-Olu saying there. Daily Trust is next. As PDP inaugurates zoning panel, North-South in epic battle over presidential tickets. Daily Trust. This Nigeria, state of refineries, NNPC Petroleum Minister, others absent at Reps probe. Stakeholders ordered to appear next Thursday. That's this Nigeria. Next is Vanguard newspaper. $3.27 billion crude lost to thieves in 14 months. Federal government cries out. Wow. Crude theft mostly from Bonny, Brass, Forcados terminals. NUPRC saying that there. The penultimate newspaper that I have here with me is Business Day. Power shortage. More homes, firms turn to inverters. Gas. Business Day. National economy, last but not the least here, says economists say increased local production patronage will save Nigeria 8.2 trillion naira capital flight. Well, interesting there. So let's quickly dig deep into what the newspapers are reporting this morning. I'll be starting with you, CKN, Kehinde Nwandu. Leadership has it on the front page that APC convention consensus deal shaky 24 hours after President Buhari's meeting with aspirants. What's your reading of this development ahead of tomorrow?
Well, it seems the APC is getting close to wrapping up this convention scheduled for tomorrow. Good enough, the president is showing leadership this time around, unlike what he has done in the past few weeks concerning the crisis rocked the APC. The president has always tried to stay away from the politics of APC and leave that to the governors and also some leaders within APC. But good enough is coming around now to be able to rally around everybody. And to a large extent, it's obvious that he has a candidate. I'll use that word. He has a candidate which he has endorsed, and he has been able to rally around the governors to come around to accept that candidate. And a few days ago, you saw the governors after a meeting with the president saying that they have agreed to most of what the president said. So it's obvious that they have a consensus agreement on who is going to be the national chairman. It has been zoned to the North Central, and it's most likely that it's going to come from Nasarawa State. Then that is one. Two is also the issue that has to do with political appointees being part of the convention, or voting at the convention. Don't forget the ever controversial Section 84/12 of the newly passed electoral bill or act, where it was stated that the political appointees who want to participate in that convention or want to go into election must resign. That became controversial because that was a court's decision, a federal high court in Umuahia, which gave a judgment a few days ago that the AGF expunged that session from that act, which the AGF was too quick to say that it was going to do. In fact, it was almost going ahead to gazette that. But forgetting that the National Assembly have a right of appeal, and at a point we're saying that why would the AGF want to do that? Because you cannot just do that when there's a right of appeal. So, but good enough, good sense seems to be prevailing, and APC have gotten its acts right on that, because if they have gone ahead to have political appointees participating and voting at that convention, and the court, the appellate court,
right,
at the Court of Appeal of the Supreme Court finally say otherwise, then that will going to put that in jeopardy. But the way it is, I think they are said. But the only thing that is remaining now, if I quickly, is the fact that the Electoral Act gives three options for election at such convention. One is direct primaries, second is indirect primary, third is consensus. Then the CPPC is going for consensus. But there is a caveat. If you are going to say you are going for consensus, all those aspirants who have indicated their interest to participate must write formally withdrawing from that. If you don't do that, then that is where the issue is going. I don't know whether the 7 aspirants, 6 other aspirants aspiring for the position of national chairman have done that as of this morning or not.
Well, let's take it from where CKN left it, Sesan Okunade. Well, they must write according to the Electoral Act, but it looks like some are saying, I've already spent a lot of money. Why didn't they tell us that we'll be going for a consensus, we'll be settling for a consensus, even though that's part of what we've always been doing? So do you see this as a bottleneck ahead of tomorrow?
Yeah, it is, but with the position of the president and some instruction that is given, it seems that we're going to have a safe landing. Remember that politics generally is about interest, and if you have the leadership putting its might to say, okay, this is what we'll do. He has given the instruction that the party should refund the registration fee of some of those people, 20 million. We know there are so many other expenses. And you know the way it runs in politics, when you are asked to yield the floor to a certain set of people, even if they don't give you the refund of such money, you will definitely be compensated one way or the other. So with the position of the president and the NAS themselves going for consensus, which is one of the approval, I'm sure before the close of business today, those people will definitely turn in their letter, because they are all agreeing to that. It's not that they are going for.
So you're thinking, in effect, you're thinking that apart from the form that they purchased, 20 million naira for chairmanship position, and someone who also claimed that he has spent as much as 300 million naira.
Even if it is 1 billion, even if it is 1 billion, the way our politicians roll the race, they know how to compensate one another. So it's not today. So coming out he has only come to put it on the table so that I can have a good bargaining when he actually steps down. So it's not something that is new. He may not get it directly, but definitely, possibly will be given an option to hold a position or bring in candidate that will be his own, that will definitely protect his interests and get back his funds. So that's the politics we've been playing. So I see with the might that the president has put in place, that this actually will end well, because if APC misstate at this convention is going to be worse than what we experienced with PDP in 2015.
And that is not in their interest at the end of the day.
Of course. And that's why the president is actually putting in that we should not jeopardize their chances in 2023. So they will take this with all seriousness, knowing fully well that you lose, and you lose out completely.
All right, let me stay with you before I go to CKN on Zoom. Daily Times Electoral Act. APC bars political appointees from zoning at convention, says they can attend but only as observers. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think doing this is it's right, just like what CKN said. If they've gone route, remember that the NAS has actually said they are appealing, and they have asked the AGF to put a stay of execution on that particular thing, not to gazette it. But you ask yourself the question, the swiftness in the response of AGF to this particular one, remembering very well that we have so many other issues that the court has actually given approval that is still pending implementation. But this, we have the swift response, and kudos to the National Assembly for taking their position to stand their ground that we've actually done this and we're going to appeal. And the president, I'm sure he read within the lines, and that's why they are given that instruction that those people would definitely come as observers. If you must follow what is written in section 84 subsection 12, that you must resign. If you are not resigning, then come as observer, at least to observe what is going on, and that would definitely protect and give a leeway to them, because if the appeal favors the National Assembly, that might actually fault this issue of convention, and APC might just do so. They want to tighten up every area they consider as loopholes for them not to fall prey of losing their chances in 2023. And I think at the dying minute, things seems to be working right, because a few weeks ago I was scared whether the APC will get themselves together, but with the last minute that we've been seeing in the last 24 hours, it shows that this convention will be smooth, and we definitely have a good outing come tomorrow at Eagle Square. All right,
CKN, you are the journalist come lawyer here. You know, following the court ruling and then the fact that the AGF was directed to delete the constitution, to delete that section from the Electoral Act, and then with a speedy response by the AGF that yes, it's going to do these, and you know, with all of this, you know, forth and back between the lawmakers and the AGF and all pundits, what they are saying, what do you make of this?
From the body language of the AGF and the statement issued, which he tried to clarify later on, it's obvious that the AGF has an interest in this. Don't forget that within the rumor mills that the AGF wants to be the governor of his state in 2023. So he's one of those that will be affected. But let me put this. Let us look at the issue as it were. Let us even look at it from the point of the person that instituted the suit. You look at it from the point of what was his interest, and this is what we call medium interloper in law, because one, he is not a public servant, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know, and he's not a political appointee. So you ask what is his locus conduct for going ahead with such a suit. But the fact remains that, as Sesan also said, why the swiftness by the AGF? After all, it's going that route. How come he has not gazetted the ruling of the court when it comes to the issue of Governor Umahi? Of course, Governor Umahi has gone on appeal, and there is a state of execution of that judgment. Same with the one that the ones concerning the legislators in Ebonyi and that of Cross River State. Those are the rulings by courts of competence jurisdiction. He as well, so you shouldn't just speak, judge and pick whatever he wants. Let me add this. My main concern is that with what is going on with this consensus and consensus, the question we should ask ourselves: are we deeply democracy? Personally, I am against consensus candidates every time, because it does not give us room to get the best. Look at the quality of those that are running for the office of national chairman of APC. I have seen some of those guys. I've seen them talk. I've watched them on television. Fantastic, intelligent young men. There's one Musa, there's Ibrahim. There's so many of them. And these are, and we are talking of some of them are very, very young. There's one of them that is about 40 or 40 something. We are talking of. We are not talking of giving leadership to the somebody who is almost in his 80s as the new national chairman of APC. Then that asks, what is the place of younger generation in the scheme of things? Can we continue to go this way? Most often than not, we pick people who are not capable, who don't have the capacity to do the job, just because we want them to do it. And that is the issue. I think that is why I totally agree with the National Assembly when they passed that electoral bill and removed the issue of consensus, because it's going to be a problem. But the powers that be within the political parties said, no, we want consensus. That is what the law says now.
All right.
We have three options: direct, indirect, or consensus. But this consensus issue is not making us get the best out of our polity, and that to me is the challenge for me.
Well, even though the consensus, according to the APC, it has always worked for them, looking at Adams Oshiomhole, BC Akande, etc., etc. But then let's change our attention
how did they end? Ibrahim, ask yourself, how did they end?
I was about saying that.
Right. Well, let's turn our attention to News Direct, where Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is calling our attention to the state of the nation. It says there is danger. We must reform Nigeria now. Says Nigeria cannot dare to predicate economic destiny on diminishing oil utility. His views are thought-provoking. That's according to Governor Sanwo-Olu. Siken, I'll still stay with you. What are you reading? Are you reading the mind of Asiwaju Tinubu based on his submission?
Yes, I'm reading the mind of Asiwaju Tinubu based on his submission. And let me quickly put in this. Let me thank him for the donation he made to my university, Lagos State University, yesterday during the convocation of our university. We need those support for our university. So let me use this opportunity to thank him and call on so many other Nigerians who have the capacity to be able to help, to also help out most of this university. Most of them are having serious infrastructure problem. So thank you very much, sir, for what you did for LASU, and we will not forget as LASU. Then back to what he said. Yes, it's so obvious that as of today, we have serious challenges. Nigeria is almost as a standstill. As we are talking, Ibrahim, I don't have light in my house, and I've not had any for some days. Petrol is becoming an issue. Aviation fuel is nowhere to be found. Kerosene is nowhere to be found. And we will continue to have myriad of problems. Unemployment is on a high. Insecurity is on a high. Then you continue to ask yourself, where are we heading to? 1999, from 1999 to now, how many years have we practiced this democracy? And he doesn't say we are getting it right. So what he has said, he's a man that has been part of the system. We saw what he did in Lagos State, and how people galvanize growth within Lagos State to where we are now. We believe that we should always look at some of the issues he raised, and not just, most of them say, oh, yes, is not part of the system. I've always said it. Don't look at the messenger, look at the message. And it resonates with what even people like former President Olusegun Obasanjo have said in the past, and so many other leaders. This is the time to rescue Nigeria. We are in a terrible shape. Nigerians are finding it difficult to be able to meet.
All right, TK.
And in fact, they are running probably what I call on autopilot. And this is not the way to go. So people need to, those in government should listen to
all right,
what
TK.
And in the areas we can be able to ameliorate that, we do that.
All right, let me take it back to Sesan Okunade in the studio. Governor Sanwo-Olu says, according to the submission of Asiwaju Tinubu, says his views are thought-provoking.
Yeah, we know the Asiwaju is stating the obvious, considering if you look at the economic empowerment of an average citizen these days, it's gone below what you can measure. And if I may borrow from the what CKN said, we always attacked Asiwaju when he speaks, but I will give it to him. Some of the things, reforms he created. Let's give him the credit. The commissioning of the fertilizer that was done for Dangote, it was his initiative to create the Lekki free trade zone years back, and that is, crystallizing into what will be given Nigeria. Remember that at that commissioning, we were being informed that Nigeria now exports fertilizers to Brazil, to US, and some other countries, which will definitely earn us money. So you can see that it's actually futuristic in his planning. Years back, while people were stood there, he looked at it and said, can we just carve out this area? Before the end of this year, we'll be coming out with the refinery by the same Dangote from the same area too. So you discover that he's a man of his word, but most of the time we tend to attack personality, ignoring the message that they need to pass. As we speak, the current situation of an average Nigeria is beyond what anybody. CK is saying that we are approaching a comatose. We are there already, because the level at which every individual now operates is you see average Nigeria moving on the street frustrated. The rate at which people are killing, insecurity, attacking individual is as a force that people have nothing to earn on their own. And if you are able to revive and resuscitate some of the problems that are identified, I keep telling you, as a patriotic Nigeria, there is no place to be than this country, because we are blessed with every resources needed. All we need is to have the right set of people at the helm of affairs to coordinate these particular resources, and Nigeria will be great for it.
All right, we'll come back to the issue of what's happening tomorrow, the APC convention. But let me take it, from where you also left it. Business Day saying power shortage, more homes, firms turn to inverters, gas, and this is the time where the heat is very, very, very burning.
Yeah, well, you saw the NAS calling the Minister of Power. What we've been experiencing lately is not something encouraging. The GENCO has actually shut down the system, keep saying that it's about system collapse. If system collapse, there's a way that you revive this thing within 24 hours. But we've not experienced that. Most people are not finding it interesting these days. And some of these alternative power supply you're talking about, the cost implication of it is huge. And you ask yourself, if an organization invests into this, who bear the brunt? It's still the consumer. So it's in the interest of the government, if they have the mind of the people, really, they have the mind of the masses at heart, to make sure that they fix the power. It's strategic. We keep saying it all the time. Power is strategic to the economic development, and if you don't get the power right, then we are not going anywhere. Because with the failure of power sector, you get artisans who are supposed to contribute, their creativity to the bottom line, ending up to be what? Okada drivers, NAPEP drivers. Some of them cannot even sit down. You give kudos to the people in the developed world that they think right. Why do? They don't think about power, because it's there and they are able to work at any time of the day. Most people will even want to work at night. Is the power there for them to work at night? The answer is zero. So people resorting to this on the part of the business owners is increasing their operating cost, and nowhere to transfer this to.
than the masses, who their economic and purchasing power, as we speak, is below threshold. So government must do something to make sure that they revive this, and we have power, at least 20% out of 20 hours out of the 24 hours that we have.
All right, CK, let me quickly come to you, because in a few minutes' time, less than a minute, we'll go on a short break. 3.27 billion naira, according to Vanguard, crude lost to, Vanguard reporting that $3.27 billion crude lost to thieves in 14 months. The federal government, crying out on this. What would you say, CKN?
Are they only crying out? They should be shedding tears. Are you telling us the federal government don't?
Well, when you cry, you're expected to be shedding tears.
No, at times you can cry. You can pretend to be crying, and you're not shedding. That's what you call crocodile tears.
No, that's an adult cry. Maybe that's an adult cry. When baby cries, adults are different.
Yes, that's when you cry, you don't shed tears. You don't shed tears. You just use hanky and just play. But the fact is, on a serious note, the federal government, knows behind this. This is serious economic sabotage. At the last count, we realized you saw the report that about 106 million barrels of crude oil has been stolen and cannot be accounted for. So you ask yourself, where do they take this thing from? Definitely, it passes through the sea, because most often are not. It's not something you transport only through pipelines. Heavy vessels. These vessels comes. What is the Nigerian Navy doing? What is their job? How come they are not arresting most of these people? I will tell you for free that most of those engaged in this thing are top-level government officials, those in our security sector, top security men, and the rest of them. If the government want to do the needful, they will be able to arrest it. But coming out to be shouting that we lost that and we, the fact is that we are not holding people accountable. If those people that, if at all the big wigs, why don't we arrest them and prosecute them? Once we start doing that, then it will be a sign of deterrent.
All right, CKN, hold your thoughts.
And say these things are stolen.
Troops destroy 49 illegal refineries, arrest 70 oil thieves, vandals in the Niger Delta. That's according to DHQ. So you can see that they're not just crying out, but they're also taking action.
We can do more. We can do more, and that's what I'm saying, Ibrahim. We can do more. Sincerely, it's very disheartening. And this is where I want agencies like EFCC to come in. EFCC should totally re-strategize the way they are going about their job. Ibrahim, let me tell you this for free. We have pumped in billions and billions of naira on a yearly basis, being budgeted and being spent on turnaround maintenance of all our refineries. See, now I can tell you that we are not refining a single liter of oil in all the refineries. Is it the one in Kaduna? Is it the one in Warri? Or is it the one in Port Harcourt? The question you ask yourself, what have we done with those billions and billions of naira that we have budgeted for turnaround maintenance? Every year they will tell us that we have been turnaround, and nothing is being turned around. And we see import close to 100% of our petroleum products from outside the country. And this is the only country, I think, within OPEC that produces crude oil in large quantities and still imports petroleum products. But let me even shock you the more, right? My study has shown that, do you even know, because of this step, that Nigeria is not even meeting its own quota on our allocation for crude oil. We are not even meeting our own quota. So if we have over 106 million, that is what we can account for. Stolen. Yeah. What are you telling me? So the fact remains is that this is not being done by people like us, not being done by journalists, small boys like you and I, or people like Sesan. It is a big business. It is a multi-billion-dollar business.
Right.
And I can tell you, and I continue to see that the government knows those behind it. And until they do the needful, we will continue to go on this trajectory.
Well, we're still staying with the Vanguard newspaper, Sesan. Well, they said that it's an organized crime that we lost $2.327 billion crude, to thieves, and 82% of production also lost in February. That's according to the IPPG.
The factors, you just used the word organized crime. Is it difficult for the federal government to break the organized crime. Individuals like us can do it. Are we armed to do that? Just like what CKN said, you discover that this is being perpetrated by the high network people. Because the investment in getting some of these things out is not like you are carrying pure water or setting up a pure water factory. This is something that is huge. So if we realize that there is serious theft in the crude oil business, we should set up mechanism to have control over some of those things. And not just that alone, if you observe or see or caught anyone in the act, let's bring them out and punish them. It's because most of the time we come and we'll cry, but we don't punish the offenders. That's why every other people feel, what is it? If I do my own and I give my settlement to the appropriate quarters, then I will continue to fly. We should start punishing people that are caught in the act of creating this economic sabotage, and that will serve as deterrent to others, of making sure that it will not become a discouraging act of saying, if I venture into it, I might be killed, I might be sent to jail. If I not get the money, where am I to enjoy the money? In the jail or in prison? But situation where the people that actually perpetrate this havoc, economic sabotage, move freely, and at times they even support the politicians with huge sum of money. Then you see that if Ibrahim is able to succeed, and CK and Sesan are watching that this is what he's doing, what do you expect us to do? You join the race, because we say, Ibrahim, how are you doing it? This is the line of business. And because you have not been punished, other people will join. We are hearing about 3.2 billion crude oil lost. What will it be at the end of the year? Initially it was about 1.6. Now we're talking about 3.2. We don't know what it will be in the next quarter. So they must do something, very fast to make sure that these people that are perpetrating this evil, now that you've identified that there is a theft, people are stealing it, then put the control mechanism, bring out 1 or 2 or 3. You may not even catch all of them, and that will serve as deterrent to others to perpetrate.
Okay, yeah, so we have a few minutes to go. I'll take your thoughts on these and CKNs. Quickly, on Guardian newspaper, this is quite interesting. Under the nameplate and folio line, we've got INEC suspends action on court judgment sacking Umahi, 16 others. Quickly.
Yeah, well, there's an appeal to that position. I'm not a lawyer, but I know it's something that is logical, that when you appeal, you create state of what's the technical term that they use? State of execution. State of execution, that this should not go further until we hear from appeal court. And if you come out of appeal and you are still not satisfied with it, we'll go to the Supreme Court. And until Supreme Court give the last verdict, that's when you can actually carry out that which has happened. So with this, INEC has no option than to suspend the action until we have the result of the court as it is. And you remember, this is just appeal. If it's not favorable, you expect that Umahi will still go to Supreme Court until we have that. Or we just need that, let the judiciary do what is needful. The likes of CKN, as they are coming up, they are the last hope of the common man. And if we don't get what is right from that angle, then the common man might just not have any hope again in the country.
CKN, quite interesting, isn't it?
Yes, quite interesting. You can see that my Sesan's association with me is wrapping up for him. You can see the way he's now talking about law. And that is the beauty of this profession, where accountants, journalists, doctors, and engineers want to have it. So it's good to hear Sesan. Maybe a few months' time, you have to come and read law again to join your account. But on a more serious note, talking about there is a state of execution, as Sesan said, and the governor has gone and appealed. The Court of Appeal is going to decide on that. I'm sure at the end of it all, either party, if they're not satisfied, they'll go to the Supreme Court. It's good that we'll let this get to the Supreme Court. But the beauty for me is the one that has to do with legislators. The days of what we call prostituting in our politics should stop. A situation where people give you their mandate, the next time you just jump into another political party must stop. If we must deepen this our politics. So for me, the judgment is not just out of my, but that of the legislators is the one that I'm so happy about. Right. Now we have to, but Justice Taiwo just made his and in crossover, and then we also had that of Ebonyi State. Let's see how this will also deepen our politics, as it were.
Right, it's a story of interest, and a lot of things are actually happening around that. So we'll continue to monitor it as soon as it continues to emerge. Chartered accountant and public affairs analyst Sesan Okunade, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me, and have a splendid weekend. And
you too. So on Zoom, chartered mediator and conciliator Kehinde Nwandu, thank you so much for your time as well.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks, and have a wonderful weekend.